If you're a fan of the Dragon Ball series, you're likely familiar with the vast array of video games the franchise has produced over the years. From action-packed fighters to immersive role-playing experiences, the Dragon Ball universe has been brought to life in various ways. With the release of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, you might be wondering, should you invest in this new addition to the Dragon Ball gaming lineup? Sparking Zero is relatively easy to learn. The controls are straightforward. One button is for punches, and another is for ranged attacks. These two buttons can be combined with directional inputs to create simple combos. While the game does include grabs, high and low attacks, and dashes, you don't need to be an expert in fighting games to understand the mechanics. However, the real enjoyment and challenge of Sparking Zero lies not in the combos, but in its movement and surprisingly deep counter system. While it's easy to close the distance between you and your opponent, doing so safely can be tricky. You can teleport behind your opponent, dash to their side, or fly towards them at incredible speeds, but each option carries risks and often requires the expenditure of resources. Your main resource, Ki, is generated by charging, which necessitates standing still and leaving you vulnerable to attacks. You can spend Ki on ranged attacks or flashy super moves. This dynamic means that charging is most effective when you're already knocking your opponent down, creating a sub-battle around these charging moments and rewarding you for winning skirmishes outside of simply dealing damage. Ranged Ki blasts are uncharged melee attacks that cover large distances, are just a button press away in the game. But using them recklessly can leave you vulnerable to various counterattacks. Tools like blocking, deflecting, parrying, and dodging are very effective because most attacks have a significant windup, creating a generous window for counterattacks. And this leads to a surprisingly strategic arena fighter. The focus here is on gauging your opponent and fighting reactively, unlike other games in the genre that often turn into aggressive button-mashing affairs. The story mode is divided into character episodes, allowing players to follow a character from Dragon Ball as they progress through parts of the story. Completing all the episodes took me about 15 to 20 hours. There are also additional content options like one-off bonus fights, but the character episodes are where the real fan service shines, especially with Sparking Zero's what-if moments. Occasionally, a fight will feature branching paths, such as a dialogue option you can choose in a cutscene or specific conditions that must be met in combat, like winning quickly or achieving victory with a particular move. Successfully completing a bonus objective can unlock a non-canonical alternate path story. Some of these earn you a short cutscene, while others can be entire sagas. Without spoiling the surprises, here's an example. Have you ever considered what would happen if Goku had defeated Raditz instead of dying at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z? Sparking Zero explores this scenario, offering two diverging paths to see how events might have unfolded differently. If you love anime, you'll likely find these branching path stories to be some of the most exciting and fan service-driven narratives ever created. The writing is infused with genuine enthusiasm and knowledge about Dragon Ball, exploring the outlandish, over-the-top scenarios you dreamed up as a child. You simply can't get enough of them. The best stories even include full cutscenes, as the writers clearly felt they had crafted something truly remarkable. Performance on PC is exceptional, aside from some brief texture pop-ins at the start of matches. There were no noticeable issues. Even in split-screen multiplayer with all graphical settings maxed out, there was no sign of frame loss. This is especially impressive given that Sparking Zero is a visually stunning game. It might be considered one of the best-looking games in recent times, but not for the usual reasons. The lighting effects in Sparking Zero truly elevate the experience. Nothing compares to the breathtaking visuals during a beam clash, where shadows disappear from every corner of the stage and reality seems to distort around the players. It's a spectacle that never grows old. The online performance is equally solid. Inputs feel responsive with minimal lag throughout. In a series of around 50 matches against various opponents, tested on both wired and Wi-Fi connections, the gameplay remained smooth even when facing opponents with poor connections. This is surprising, as subpar netcode is often a common issue in arena fighters, but Sparking Zero stands out as an exception. However, it's not all positive. Sparking Zero has its share of flaws, most of them minor, but one significant issue stands out. The tutorial is inadequate. First, it is far from comprehensive. There are several mechanics that players must figure out on their own, as the tutorial does not cover them all. Some players even discover these features by accident while in training mode. Additionally, navigating the tutorial is cumbersome. It is divided into separate sections, but there is no option to automatically proceed to the next one, forcing players to spend more time in menus than actually learning the game's mechanics. Overall, the menu system in Sparking Zero is generally clunky and inconsistent with confusing inputs. Strangely, the tutorial allows your opponent to die, which seems like a fundamental oversight. A good tutorial should help you learn without unnecessary interruptions. Fortunately, the training mode is much better. It offers a variety of programmable CPU options and settings that give players more control over their practice sessions. While the tutorial is lacking, the game somewhat compensates with its more robust training options. At the end of the day, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero stands out as one of the most exciting entries in the Dragon Ball gaming lineup in recent years. Its combination of nostalgia, high-octane action, and an impressive character roster makes it a game worthy of attention, especially for fans of the series. Whether you're looking to relive the glory days of the Budokai Tenkaichi era or eager to jump into explosive battles with friends, this game offers something for every Dragon Ball enthusiast.